We are back with more messed up moments in comics. However, we don't just do messed up moments in comics here on the channel anymore. We talk about all sorts of different comics, whether it be Marvel, DC, a lot of Spider-Man. Sorry, I love him. As well as many other aspects of comic book fandom. So if you'd like to subscribe to the channel and join one of the over 100,000 friends, go ahead, as we tend to have a lot of fun on the channel. If you'd like to support the channel, consider becoming a member. Affiliate links to comicbookdirect.com and Rose City Comic Con are also in the description. Any of these are ways to definitely help out the channel, and I appreciate you for doing so. With all that being said, let's hop into volume 17 of Messed Up Moments in Comics that have made us go,
hey yo, what the fuck?
The Joker has done some pretty despicable things, but what was it that made Jim Gordon get revenge? It seems like one of his favorite pastimes is casually torturing Jim Gordon. Like in The Killing Joke, where he beats the commissioner and sends him through a tunnel of love straight from hell. But that wasn't enough to make Gordon snap. So what did? It was actually Christmas Day, and it turns out he was actually hiding in the GCPD basement with 36 infants. And Gordon's wife, Sarah Essen, was the only one on the scene. So she goes to investigate, and the Joker ends her. That was enough to make Gordon finally snap. He's about to pull the trigger and put this all to an end, and Batman even signs off on it. He's not even going to stop Gordon. He's like, yeah, you know what? You need this. But even after all of that, Gordon still didn't have the stomach to end it. But he does kneecap him, so that's a little cathartic.
Part 162. This is Spider-Man Noir, an alternate universe version of Peter Parker, which is basically if Dick Tracy and Spider-Man had a baby. And although things seem a little different, there's also some similarities. For example, this Spider-Man still has an Uncle Ben. Oh, I see where this is going. For you see, friends, with great power, there must also come great tragedy. So unlike the 616 version, who perished at the hands of a thief, or even the new Ultimate Universe version, who's still alive and kicking, in this universe, Uncle Ben's life was much worse. In this universe, Norman Osborn was actually a mob boss. He didn't much care for what Uncle Ben had been doing, so he sent some goons after him. So Osborn's group of enforcers enforced, but then they called in the big guns. Yeah, this Nosferatu looking fool is actually this universe's Vulture, who got a little hungry and yeah. Messed up moments in comics that made us go, what the is that? Part 163. This is Marvel's King in Black, issue number 1. Earth's being invaded by symbiotes, and the heroes of Earth band together to stop this incoming threat. But who's their leader? That would be this man, Null, the symbiote god. He's looking for one person, Eddie Brock. I mean, this guy brings some serious firepower. He has an army of flying symbiotes that all look like Terry McGinnis's Batman Beyond. You know, but more importantly, he has venomized Celestials, so that'll be a bit of an issue. But Cap has an ace up his sleeve, and he calls in their big guns. That being none other than Sentry, and he is ready to throw down. He flies straight through a Celestial's head, and Null is furious. The two of them collide, and Sentry's making jokes, but that doesn't last long. Sentry's horrified when Null shreds him into tiny pieces, like immediately, then absorbs the evil void that lives in Sentry.
Like and subscribe.
Part 164. This is Victor Von Doom. Or is it? Because you see, friends, this is Earth 20208, and things on this planet are not what they seem. Let's get into it. In Timeless issue number 1, Kang the Conqueror is on a mission, and he tracks down an alternate universe's Dr. Doom. But there's something off about him. His eyes are glowing. And it turns out, this is an alternate version of Reed Richards, who replaces his eyes with Infinity Gems, becoming a twisted and evil version of the man he used to be. He replaces his eyes so he can rewrite the universe as he wants it to be, trying to cultivate and save it. But in doing so, he wipes out all of the other heroes, and all the Celestials, and drinks their blood to get their power. Good lord. It really just shows you the lengths that Reed Richards is able to go to if he really puts his mind to it, and how he can basically be unstoppable. Well, as long as you don't have a pointy stick. Part 165. This is Siren from Marvel Comics, a valuable member of X-Force, and Former lover of Deadpool? Yeah, that's a weird one, but that's going to be a story for another time. Because today we're actually going to be focusing on another one of her former lovers. That being Multiple Man. Multiple Man has the ability to make duplicates of himself, otherwise known as dupes. And he and Siren were together, and she actually got pregnant with his baby. Multiple Man was so nervous to hold him because he was afraid he was going to drop his kid. But he was able to name his son, Sean, and he grabbed him to hold him for the first time. That's when everything goes dark, because you see, friends, the moment he grabbed baby Sean, he absorbed him right into his own body, and the baby ceases to exist. Siren freaks out justifiably, and as it turns out, the reason the baby was absorbed is because it wasn't actually Multiple Man's baby. It was one of his dupes, and because of this, clone DNA gets reconstituted back into him. Part 166. One day in May 1941, Father Eddie Brock is approached by a childhood friend, who threatens to expose his ungodly activities to the rest of his church. For you see, Eddie was a slave to his vices, including drinking and gambling. In fact, he gambled away all of the church's money. So he looks to his Bible for advice, and stops at a passage mentioning venom. He goes outside and touches a black puddle on the ground, and suddenly he's being beckoned towards a light. So he goes to it, but that was no light. That was venom. Now endowed with superpowers, he goes to pay his old friend a visit. But if I saw a man jumping like this, I wouldn't be able to take him seriously. Eddie reveals his new powers to his friend, and if you know anything about venom, I bet you can guess what happens next. He later uses his position in the church to frame the on a schizophrenic man, using part of the venom symbiote to go even more insane. The man confesses to them, and Father Brock gets away scot-free. A lot of people have been talking about the Drake and Kendrick beef, and not enough people are talking about the beef between Marshall Mathers and Frank Castle. Messed up moments in comics that made us go,
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Part 167. This, my friends, is Eminem versus the Punisher. And yes, this was an actual Marvel comic, but I have a question for you. Did you ever think you'd see a book where Eminem would get the drop on the Punisher, knock him out, and just start unloading into him? But don't worry, because old Marshall gets his comeuppance. As it turns out, this man here was hired by the record company to take Eminem out. Em and Frank are both loaded up onto a boat, and Slim's forced to walk on the ice until he falls through. But luckily, a guy's ice fishing and apparently listening to his music at the exact same time. What are the odds? Eminem gets the upper hand. Oh, and by the way, Punisher's also still there. Yeah, thank God for body armor. And Punisher leaves Eminem out on the ice. Why was this made? Do you think Slim Shady could take out the Punisher? Let me know. Messed up moments in comics that made us go,
What the f?
Part 168. This is Superior Iron Man issue 3, and it begins with Daredevil waking up, but he's able to see, because Tony gave him a little bit of extremis without him knowing. And of course, Tony wanted the first face that Matt sees in decades to be his. Daredevil is not appreciative of this at all, because he doesn't want to get hooked on extremis like Tony is. And Matt says, "Do you think you can play God?" And Tony drops one of his coldest lines that he's had in years. "I'm the most intelligent, capable person on this planet. I'm not playing God. All this time, I've been playing human." He then decks Daredevil and yeets out the window. But before Matt's sight goes away forever, there's someone he wants to see. He goes to his best friend, Foggy Nelson's apartment, to see his face for the first time. Matt tells Foggy he just wanted to see him, as his vision fades, and he goes back to the echolocation he uses as Daredevil. Messed up moments in comics that made us go,
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Part 169. After mutually assured atomic destruction, there are only a few humans left surviving on Earth's surface. And one of them is Frank Castle, the Punisher. And this man is on a mission. After trekking through the radioactive hellscape that is the world, Frank and his traveling companion get rescued. And they're told they only have a few hours left to live, due to radiation poisoning. And of course, since this is the Punisher we're talking about, he puts those hours to good use. Taking out the security guards and the doctor who just saved his life, Frank makes his way deeper into the secret base. As it turns out, some of the world's elites survived underground after starting, basically, a nuclear war. There were different surviving factions across the United States. However, the location that Frank is at now is the last surviving base of all of humanity. They try to strike up a deal with good old Frank, but let's be honest here, the only thing that he accepts is unconditional revenge, which he swiftly gets. His traveling partner is completely horrified by this entire situation. That's when Frank reveals he knows why his friend was in prison in the first place, because he accidentally burned down a kindergarten with all of the kindergartners inside. So, the Punisher punishes the last remaining human besides himself on the face of the earth. before walking out into the post-apocalyptic hellscape and accepting his fate. And with that, Frank and humanity ends.
Like and subscribe.
Messed up moments in comics that made us go.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Part 170. I'm sure we're all familiar with the origins of the Incredible Hulk, the massive, muscular, green, hormone-filled rage monster, and a staple of the Marvel Universe. However, there exists a universe where Marvel's greatest heroes have their origins tweaked ever so slightly. And today, we'll look at Marvel Ruin's rendition of the Incredible Hulk. Normally, Bruce Banner is exposed to gamma radiation, and that's what turns him into the Incredible Hulk. However, in Marvel Ruins, it does something a little different. Bruce Banner does still get infected with gamma radiation when trying to save Rick Jones' life. However, instead of him getting the burden of incalculable rage, he ends up getting turned into a mountain of tumors, cancers growing in every direction as he slowly perishes. And that's all we see of him in the entire book.
Like and subscribe.
Thank you for watching. If you like this video, go ahead and drop a like and subscribe for more. Affiliate links are in the description if you'd like to help out in additional ways. Or consider becoming a member, as it really does help more than you think. With all that being said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one.